Good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to the viewers on the another live session of GETI Talk, where the prominent speakers share their innovative and inspiring thoughts which motivate us to perform even better. I'm Anisha, your today's host. Global Education and Training Institution is a leading teachers training institution in India where the purpose is to prepare teachers to become outstanding practitioners. A very warm welcome on the Getty Talk. The world has shaken due to the small virus named Corona. The world is still and people are at home using all precautions when they go out. Educational institutions are temporarily closed by the government, and all the schools now have opted to go online. We have, I'm sorry, I'm getting some problems. Yeah, there was some
No,
problem with my. Okay, so we have Dr. Fahim, our today's guest, who is sharing his views upon running schools in the life pandemic. Now, a brief information about Mr. Verghese. He is MA. He has cleared SUP education and he is a PhD. Presently, he is working with Kotak Education Foundation. He is working for school leadership development intervention. He is working in Mumbai. He has worked as school teacher and has worked as principal for 15 years. He was a professor in B.Ed College. He is working with Kotak Education for 6 years now, and Kotak Education is supporting low budget government credit school in the poorest wards in Mumbai. Currently, he is working with 75 schools. A warm welcome, sir, on our platform.
thank you. Um, Hi everyone. Uh, the Thank you so much, Anisha and Getty, for giving me this opportunity to kind of
Excuse me,
speak on
sir.
a webinar like this.
Um,
Am I audible?
yes, sir. Just wanted to know this link which I have shared with you. Have you shared with
Mm,
anybody else? Because I'm getting
in-
requests to join,
Ooh,
so
oh,
they will be able to see you on Facebook Live, not on
yeah.
this studio. So
Okay. So now, what do you do?
yeah, so it's okay, sir.
I
It's
think
okay. You
it's
can
okay.
continue, sir.
Sure. So, shall we continue?
Yes, sure, sir. Sure.
Uh, so the points that I'm looking forward to cover. Okay, shall I share my screen?
Yes, sure, sir.
Sure. Um, okay, the points I'm looking forward to cover is major challenges for school in today's space, like physical space as per distancing norms and things like that. Major challenge for parents, for teachers. For parents, it's health scare. For teachers, it's portion and syllabus. Major challenge for society. All parents may not be able to afford smartphone kind of community, and all children and teachers may not have an office like space to conduct sessions. So we'll just be ideating on this, that how through my experience in teaching and as a teacher, and if we can go through with the objectives of teaching, then how we can make a meaningful advantage of the pandemic that we are facing right now. Also, some other perspective, modes of teaching, online, semi-online, offline. Um, what is the support that can be provided to teachers by the authorities, to children, to parents, and what is the support that management needs? By management, I also include principal. So we go ahead. The first one, major challenge to schools. So um, once the school kind of reopens as per government norms, there will be a big a big challenge as to how you can follow the social distancing norms. So what we thought after a long discussion was that if we can have a school which is running say 80 students in a class, we obviously cannot have 80 students in a class per day. So if we divide it into 6 days, we can have about 13, 14 students per day. So if we are calling only once in a week, then that could be a little problematic. Let us understand a very important challenge that we are going to face right now is kind of parents would be uh, see the children are not coming to school. So now school is not going to be a babysitting organization as it was all these years. So now if the children are at home, one of the parents needs to be at home. And these are going to be very, very tricky spaces for the schools to function. So many I have interviewed so far have even shared that they may be dropping out of school, or for 1 year they may not send the children to school or something of that sort. So keeping all these things in line, we need to understand that we cannot pressurize children with a 6-day week as we had all these years, or we may have to increase our school building by 6 times. What we can do is, if we can have about 12, 13 students per class coming per day, that would kind of, 13 students on Monday first half and Thursday second half, another 13 students on Tuesday first half, Friday second half, another 13 students on Wednesday first half, Saturday second half. So that way what would happen is that the children are coming part by part and you have only 13 students to handle in a class. Now what happens? So technically a child is coming to school only 2 half days in a week. What happens to the portion and teachers? That we will see in the next part. um, Another thing that can come up is distancing norms. Decide that the 13 students, as far as possible, come with their friends. Avoid making to break up friends and stuff like that. Pick one monitor from each batch who would do the temperature check and ensure sanitized hands and stuff like that. One student on a bench, and if it is a 5 feet bench, then two on each. All students must wear masks, and if possible, head screen too. I mean, these are all going to be government norms by itself. Make agreements of acceptable and unacceptable behavior in class. This is very, very important. What is acceptable and what is not acceptable behavior in the class. 3 levels of all assignments, very, very important. High, average, mediocre. And give options to the students to choose what he or she wants to do in subject. Avoid judging students on their choice. Let us come to the screen. Uh, Let us understand what is our objective of schooling. Can we have a chat live the screen? Why do we send children to school? Hmm.
You want to share screen?
No. Why do
You
we
want
send children to school?
To learn,
To
to
learn.
learn new things. Yeah.
And to learn what? One thing that you think a child needs to learn in school.
Um, the portion, the new topics, age appropriate topics.
Okay. So
Also, they
the most,
learn from each other, their friends, a lot.
the most important thing that they need to learn is to learn to learn.
Yeah,
To learn from what life experiences provides to them. We see learning by itself is a value, and values are caught, not taught. We learn this basics in BN. Values are caught. They will learn to learn. A child will learn to learn when he sees teacher learning, not teaching. We
right,
generally come from a space that a teacher is teaching and a child is learning. The child will learn to learn only when he sees teachers learning. Only when you are able to share, learning can happen only under struggle. Only when you are able to share the struggles with the children that the child will be able to learn. So um, get out from the system of that teaching. Teachers work very hard. Really, they work so much, and you would be much more comfortable if if instead of teaching, you get into the child learning. Instead of finishing the syllabus, you ensure that the child is learning to a mastery level. So what you can do is, when we are creating assignments, create like high, average, mediocre assignments. So that the child has the learner has an option to choose what he or she wants to do. He does not need to do high level assignments in all the subjects. He would do high level assignments in subjects only which interests him. Our tasks as teacher is to create interest spark. So give options to the learner what he wants to do. And best would be follow a flip learning pedagogy. Study John Bergman online if you can. It's just that I've got only about 40 minutes right now. So I may not be able to support with you in this thing, but then it's flip learning. Essentially, it is what you are doing in class, you give them as homework. And what you give them as homework, you do it in class. You teach easy stuff in class, mediocre stuff as homework, ever high difficult stuff, leave it to the choice of the children. If child comes up with a challenge to you, please reply, please support, but don't make it a point. Now what we are doing over here, I mean, I've been a math teacher for like 15 years, and what I did in the school, and I'm ashamed of what I was doing in the school all these years. I will pick up the most difficult sums in the textbook and then solve them on the board. The child knows that I know everything. He may not understand anything. Only the smarties do. And essentially we end up teaching the smarties rather than everyone. And what are we teaching them? We are when we are giving them all these solutions, eventually the 21st century skills are all gone for a toss. There is no kind of fun in learning.
right.
If you can create fun in learning, that is by giving them to solve, they solve it on their own. You provide scaffolding, temporary support. Avoid getting into the entire help part of it. They will not enjoy. They will not enjoy. They may respect you as an intellectual, but is that your objective? Encourage children learning rather than the teacher teaching. Now let's come to the second part. What is the major challenge for parents? Health scare and health check. Please understand, their scare is real. Their scare is real. When we see so many people, I mean, in an area where we are in, the deaths are like huge, and their scare is real. If Corona strikes, then what? So encourage quarantine wherever needed. Do not insist on physical attendance. Second thing is, explain to the parents your real state of health check. Request them to understand. Put the disclaimer clearly. If a child unawares carries symptoms and is in class, accidents are possible. Over time, we may get this vaccine and stuff like that. But I personally, I mean, I'm not the doctor, I'm not an authority, but I personally do not see the vaccines coming into market for at least next 1.5 years for common public. Even if it is for 1,000 rupees, which is like bare minimum, I do not see majority of parents being able to afford it for everyone in the family. And vaccines would work only if it is given when you are healthy. So, I mean, in schools where we are working, the fees are like 200, 300 rupees a year, and we still find parents who are skeptical about it, who are not able to afford that much, whose fees are pending till the end of the year. So, if we can share with them that this is so, eventually it would be the immunity that they build up that would be useful, especially in this kind of a thing, so far as what I understand. Um, so, if a child does carry unaware symptoms and is in class, accidents are possible. This needs to be communicated very, very clearly to the parents. Otherwise, you will have another set of lawsuits in front of you. Please don't give it in writing that you are taking care. In fact, give it in writing that the parents are sending children at their own risk. If they are not coming, chill. At the same time, so what I suggest is, one day they are coming to school. So you understand, half a day one day, half a day another day. So like that is one day in a week they are coming to school, and another half a day one day, half a day another day they are doing online. Between that, give them self study. What happens to the portion? Teacher's headache. I'll come to that. Don't worry. Create a WhatsApp group for each batch of 13 students and make it a point to share, one, what you did today, and two, self study resources. I'm sure we must be all aware Khan Academy is doing an amazing job. Just pick up videos from there, share it with them. YouTube videos, you will get so many of them. Share it with them so that they can do that self study that is teaching us. Fix a time to share WhatsApp message. These are all tips. Fix a time to share WhatsApp message so that the elders know what to expect when. Because if you keep on juggling the time anytime, say 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whenever I get time, then uh, you know, the parents are under a stress. Let us understand how we can make it easier. So if you are sharing it at 7 o'clock in the evening, keep it, make the message, keep it ready, share it to the group 7 o'clock, so that the parent knows that at 7 o'clock the child must be getting a Wi-Fi to download the data. Lastly, do not run a full day school daily online. I'm seeing so many schools that are running daily 6 hours a day. Oh my God, 1 hour a day, 1 hour you are sitting in front of me, you will get a headache. Imagine me
6
teaching you
hours.
6 hours a day.
You're talking about 6 hours on online classes.
Online.
Okay.
The child is all. I mean, 2 3 days it is very encouraging. After that, it is gone. I mean, give instead resources for self-study. Can we create resources and let go. Don't expect everyone to do all the homework and come to you.
Yeah.
Now, major challenge for teachers. Portion.
True. Correct.
Now that is something only God can save you. We teachers think that only when we speak then we teach. मैं कितना बोलता हूँ ना
True.
guys chill. Can we now at least speak in terms of outcomes? Go slow, slow, very very slow. Insist on basic mastery and encourage research all through. Divide your portion into three parts: easy, average, difficult. Easy, you cover in class and online. Easy, you cover in class and online, both. Average, you give hints and children self study. Challenging is purely optional. And trust me, keep 33% in each grade. 33% easy that you do in class, 33% average for which you provide a scaffolding, 33% challenging, which is entirely optional. Everybody does not need to do everything. You can keep like mandatory any two subjects of a child's choice to take difficult portion.
Okay. But now what when they will come next year? Suppose
Uh,
we are.
I'll come to that.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Very good question. What happens if we are doing it like this? What happens next year?
Yeah,
If see our portion is so divided, most of the university, most of the boards in India are following the spiral curriculum.
true.
So what they do is they pick up 33% from, let's say if you are in 7th standard, 33% portion is from 6th grade carried forward, 33% is the 7th grade new one, 33% is challenging 8th grade one. Okay, so when your basics are mastered, then the child will be able to understand next year what is going in. The problem is like spend maximum time when you're teaching acceleration, rate at which displacement takes place, maximum time in giving examples and mastering the concept. One is that they know the definition by heart. We insist on the children parroting it. A body when immersed in liquid loses its weight, this loss of weight is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the body. I had learnt it in 9th standard. I am a literature student. I never studied in college, never taught in school. But I still remember that Archimedes principle. Parroting. And we still insist on parroting. If we insist on revising, I mean, spend 30, 40, 50 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, entire time only to give various examples to get a child to master the concept. Once the concept is mastered, then the child will be able to build on it. Problem solving is a skill. How will you learn the skill? How do we learn skills?
Skills
Skills. How do we learn skills?
by practicing it.
Awesome! By practicing it. You learn cycling only by cycling, not by seeing other people cycle.
True.
You learn you learn problem solving by problem solving. You can't learn problem solving by teacher problem solving. Get the child to solve problems. If we are getting into If we get into child into understanding and solving problems, then the child will be able to comprehend and solve the problems by himself, which is what he is required to do in life. In life, we don't go in for what will be the hints that will be coming up. So, if we can keep that component in mind, and we teach the child to problem solve rather than solve the problems, or if you are only going to solve the problems on the board, better tell him to buy a digest. Everything is there. No use. Each week, 500 to max 600 minutes of teaching. Max. 240 minutes offline.
Okay.
I'm just giving you a brief the thing. 240 minutes offline. 60 minutes for maths, 60 minutes for science, 45 minutes each for English, second language, Hindi, social studies, and 60 minutes of art, music, computer, craft, PT, whatever. Or if you don't have anything, class teachers class, only talk to children. Talk to children and listen. They will learn a lot more. Child should be able to learn the teacher, not the content. How much do we remember of the content that was taught in class? Think. Do you remember, if you are an English teacher, do you know what a surd is? Or if you are a math teacher, do you know what a clause is? We don't remember. We do it only for schools, only for exams. Now is the time. Use this pandemic as an opportunity to focus from you teaching to the child learning. Give enough space for children to express themselves. So 240 minutes of offline, that is in class, and another 280 minutes of online. 90 minutes for maths, 90 minutes for science, 60 minutes for English, second language, Hindi, social studies, period. So are we done with this? We're done challenges for school, parents, teachers, community. See, major challenge of the community is all parents may not be able to afford smartphones. Agreed? So try to encourage money saving modes. Use refurbished, second hands, pre-used pieces. Take pre-used pieces from friends. So many people tend to buy phones just because it's the latest model. 1 year old model, no issues. 2 year old model, no issues. Encourage donations of pre-used mobile phones. Yesterday, one of our not yesterday, about a week back, one of our partner schools had started a donation drive on group. The children are going to use this, so whatever extra phone you have, you will get loads of them. There are so many good people available who are willing to donate at least what is waste. Usually use them. If purchasing, encourage 7-inch Wi-Fi tablets only. One, it comes for under 3,000 rupees online. Free में मिल जाएगा. First time. Two, Wi-Fi tablets, parents can monitor the use of data. If it is Wi-Fi only tablet, they know, um, how much data the child is using, so the child is not unnecessarily on internet, which is a big scare to the parents. So major concern that comes from the parents is, when we are not, what will the child do? If you are using only Wi-Fi tablets, that's relatively safer. Encourage, but do not mandate. Encourage, but do not mandate. One instrument for each child, if it is possible. In extreme cases, you may want to encourage information sharing by neighbors also. but in a pandemic, it's a risky thing. You know, one, so we are getting online, offline, semi-online. Like online is your live class, like something like this class, you take it on Zoom or video chat or whatever. Another is your um,
Semi-offline.
WhatsApp, WhatsApp, email. They are semi-online. Means you are getting information, but you are using it at your own field. They can use it for research. And lastly, offline. Offline is in the classroom. So ensure that this is connected. So um, obviously, this would probably increase the teacher's workload, but that is what we'll come to um, in the management part. Um, See, what happens is if a teacher is going to teach for, I mean, if there are 6 batches and they have to teach the same thing 6 times, online and offline. So, offline period, if the number of periods is very less, one period in a thing, and 1 period for maths, 1 period for science. So, the maths teacher has got one online period, one offline period. So, offline period will be 1 multiplied by 5 or 6 batches. That way, they tend to get a breathing space and planning and preparation space. If we can get it that way, it would be far more. These are all. I'm just sharing my ideas. You can pick up whatever is comfortable.
True, sir.
Next, all children or parents may not have an office-like space to conduct sessions. Trust me, it was a challenge for me to find a place in my flat where I can sit and conduct a session like this.
True.
These are realities. I mean, if I'm sitting like this, then if somebody is walking around, then I mean, he would be visible. So how can I make it a point to ensure that these things do not happen? And right now, I am facing the wall. So um, it is it is challenging. Tell children to wear uniforms in sessions. Otherwise, most of the parents will have. I'm sorry. I'm coming from a space that I'm basically working into a very um, low socioeconomic community. So um, these are the challenges which basically they have. If it is available and if it is a fancy school, please go ahead, whatever is comfortable. But uniform, what happens is that when children wear uniform, there are 2 things. One is that parents do not have any headache of looking for a dress for the child. And second is when you are in a uniform, you feel like a student. So I strongly encourage uniforms, but then that's my encouragement. In Chawls or in Shantis, tell children to sit with their backs to the walls, like I'm sitting. So most of them would be on a mobile phone. Please understand this. So don't kind of. I've seen teachers put up a whiteboard here, and then they would be writing on it, doing sums, and then telling children to copy down. So, I mean, if you are doing like this, pick it up, do it, not copy down, picture it, image it, WhatsApp, share it in the email. Simple.
Right.
In Chawls or Shantis, tell children to sit with their backs to the wall. Occasionally overlook videos in an off mode. If a child is keeping the video off, try to empathize. Either A, he or she is ashamed of coming online. B, there are probably family challenges which he or she is not wanting to share. Overlook that. Tell children that they can come to video only if they are comfortable and want to trust or distrust children. Okay. What happens is At the same time, do not tell everyone to be offline, off video. See, um, the child is wanting to socialize in his life. So he is going to want to have this space to see his best friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You trust or distrust children and they will live up to your expectation. Do not punish children online. Shut up. Don't talk. You are not paying attention here. I have seen these dialogues on the screen. Sometimes, rarely, mute or video block anyone. Any mood swing would impact all children. Do not waste online time by making children write or copy notes. As I just shared, send your chalkboard work or summary as an image on WhatsApp in the evening. Lastly, mandate children to take responsibility for their own learning. Now there is no way go. All this is easier said than done. See, what is happening is, as adults, our span of attention to um, take in data information is like about 10, 12, 15 minutes. Right now, if you're listening to me for 35 minutes, you are all bored. Or you will stop, have a glass of water, tea, then continue. That's it. So, um, if we kind of keep on giving lectures and lectures and lectures, and we expect children to remember, we are fools. Mandate children to take responsibility for their own learning. That is the only way in which they will be paying attention to what we are doing in class. Are we okay? Shall we move further? Modes of teaching I just shared: online, semi-online, offline. I'll quickly share what online means. So when we say online, it is Zoom, Google Classroom, Skype, or yes, something like Facebook, live chat, or something of that sort. Just pick it up. As teachers, you need to have a basic training and self-developed skills using whiteboard, screen share, and video share. Whiteboard is such an amazing tool. Amazing tool. If when you go to Zoom and you put up share screen, you will get the bottommost piece as whiteboard. Just click on that. Share whiteboard. And if you're using a mobile phone, I generally use a tablet. And 10 screen, you can write anything you want with a finger, with a pen. Awesome. And you do all your sums over there, the child is able to see it with concentration on the screen. So as teachers, we need to have a hold on whiteboards, and that's not the only whiteboard, by the way. If you go to online, you will get a lot of whiteboard. You need to have live chats. In between, just put a yes, no, or who do you agree or disagree. When children share, uh, that is the least you can do to keep children active in the class. Make 2 or 3 classrooms as online training labs with as much quality infrastructure as possible in your school. In the school, when you're going in school, keep a classroom. Or if you can have, the other day I was looking into one teacher. What she was doing was, what she had done, she had put a backdrop of the image of her classroom. She took the photo of her classroom, conducted a huge flex, put it back, so the child can feel that he is in the classroom.
Right.
So that that one-on-one, that ownership becomes very strong. This learning becomes very lasting. Um, Usually, I encourage schools to have a decent online infrastructure, but even a basic online infrastructure like the kind which I have comes for 20,000, all inclusive. All you need to do is just to decide what we are going in for it. But I encourage now, at least now, for next 2 3 years is a minimum, and which can go on till infinity, because we do not see ourselves going back to entire offline mode ever. So schools that invest in in training and software and um, computers and laptops are doing a very positive investment. Semi-online refers to email, WhatsApp, messages, Facebook, and like. It's online, but not in real time. Right now, it is real time. Offline refers to live sessions in schools. Also, assignments done at home are considered offline. So let's move on. What is the support that is needed for teachers? Let us understand. This is very new thing for everyone, including the teachers. The teachers are the face of the school and soldiers in actual sense. Think. Supporting them is supporting the school. So they need support in a hardware, B, software, most important. Quality touchscreen laptop is a minimum. Apart from mic, speakers, offline boards, markers, pens, teaching aids, etc. These things must be provided. Software में paid Zoom version at least. I mean now we know Zoom is American, not Chinese. You know that. Very good. So, and I'm not a marketing agent for Zoom. Which and train them on hand holding support. Understand that teachers working from home have challenges too. Small children who do not understand the significance of online sessions. A 3 year old is there to small apartments may have loads of members. At least empathize on that front. We can't do much, but at least empathize, listen, understand that these are the places the child can be in trouble. My understanding is a teacher is a 24 by 7 job, on job. Even while cooking or driving, what is generally alive for him or her is how would I teach this to support real learning to children. The teachers come genuinely from a space of teaching and contribution. It's just that they think, majority, me inclusive. We teach by speaking. Now we are ideating. What is the best way we can teach? At least respect that. Try to provide minimum workload possible. Don't come from a space that the more workload the teacher is getting, the more I'm making you value for money. Value for money is for toothpaste. And for teachers, the lesser you give, more quality work you will get. More dedicated work you will get, is my sense. Let two teachers teach a subject. When one is online, the other is offline. Don't put one for online and one for offline. No. One day you are online, she is offline. Next day she is online, you are offline. So that the child is able to see both the teachers in the class and off it. Understand that if children are at home, all elders cannot be out. The biggest impact of the pandemic is the task of babysitting children is passed from schools to parents. Schools were formerly doing babysitting. At 12 o'clock, my child goes to school, I have got peace of mind till 6 o'clock. Now that peace of mind is gone. Understand that? And empathize. The same thing is happening even to teachers. Wherever, whenever, the solution is whenever work from home is possible for teachers, encourage that. If a teacher is wanting to work from home and it is possible to work from home, please encourage that. Because teacher also has got a child who is supposed to be going to school and who is not going to school. Support to children. Do children need support? Often children are at crossroads of grumpy parents, grandparents, home culture, which is very embarrassing. At least empathize. Because initially they were exposed to some other culture, now that is not. The main objective of school is socializing, and that space is gone. Understand, children are not trained to listen and read. Every year we are conducting assault tests for reading. 50% eighth graders can't read their text in mother tongue. And we are expecting them to read WhatsApp messages and do the homework. And we say, मैंने तो आपको उस दिन भेज दिया था. Why have you not done? This is the new normal. They need to understand to read. If you can spend, and reading is a, see, I generally come from a space that you can teach reading in 15 hours, one on one. Reading cannot be taught in the classroom. All you need to do is just spend 15 hours and the child will be able to read. Do not be misunderstanding that children come to school for teachers. Are you? Children come to school for children and friends. If teachers are friends, very good. Rule: 15 minutes mandatory homework. Don't give more homework. Don't give too much homework. Child is at home, so he should be able to do homework. 15 minutes of mandatory homework, 30 minutes of encouraged self-study, and 60 minutes of optional challenging work. Choices child. So that he does the minimum work per subject. I'm not saying per day. Per subject, per week. Do not confuse pressurizing in a well-intentioned work as encouraging. तुमको तो ये करना ही चाहिए. तुमने तो you should do that difficult part. You are a very intelligent child. You should do difficult part. Let that choice be child's. Support to parents. How much time do I have? Do I have about 10-15 minutes?
Yeah,
Is
yes,
10
so
minutes okay?
you can
Sure.
proceed, sir.
Thank you. Sure. Um, what support do parents need basically? Um, my personal senses, it would be mainly financial. When you can tie up with some NGO that would provide them with the requisite IT hardware at a cheaper rate or a subsidized rate or free, very good. So first point is financial support. Second is understand that they have 100 guests each day, every day, daily now. It is a pressure for them to be on their toes all the time. Thirdly, parents are far from tech savvy. Most parents can't use WhatsApp. You need to understand that they don't understand and go slow. Next, it would be a support to parents if teachers can teach to their stick to their commitments. A very important part. A very important part. 7 o'clock should happen at 7 o'clock only. A message expected at 7 p.m. comes at 7 p.m. only. You may be teaching one child, but most parents have children in different schools, different classes, and they need to adjust everyone's schedules, not to mention their own work. If all the schools start having an online session at 9 o'clock, how will the parents even arrange the internet? So these are challenging times. Have patience, go slow. If possible, I know one school, what they do is they record all Zoom sessions, and after the session is over, they send the session to the parents. So if a child is absent for some reason, the he can still see the session live. Now, what happens with this is the advantage that the child can study and understand and do it two, three, 4 times, so that even a slower learner would be able to learn. If you can have a YouTube channel, great. And the other thing is that you know you become a support to the parents, to the parents, that like they are not under a pressure to ensure the child's attendance. If for some reason I spoke to one school principal and she said, okay, if I give them online sessions, they will not come to my class only. Reflect, is that what we are talking, is that why we are there? What happens if no one is there in this session and you listen to my to the cast online on Facebook? What difference does it make? Lastly, a support to the management. And by management, I mean principal, trustees, and the SMC, school managing committees. A lot of juggling is needed to manage the finance. Understand, Karo? A quarter children have already dropped out of school. Um, their fees are coming late. The parents do not have jobs. There is such a huge challenge on the job. So parents do not have jobs. They can't pay the child's fees. Although education is very important, but more important is food, clothing, and shelter, according to them. So um, the schools are also running out of finances. The taxes are on, the salaries of all employees are on, plus one division is now six divisions, putting pressure on teachers and management that need to hire more teachers, and so more expenses. The best support we can give to the management is cut corners. Take just 1 year at the moment. Wherever possible, save money. It is quite a task for the principal and the trustees to keep the team motivation at the peak. The main task of principal is to keep the team motivation high. And right now it is quite a task. Also ensure year is completed without much ado. Add to that, everyone has a family to feed, including the management and the trustees. The biggest support to the management is the trust that each would do his or her part sincerely. Wherever possible, ideate, discuss, support the max you can. The best support to the management is keeping your motivation high. Together, we surely can. So, how are we feeling now?
Can you read this message, sir, from Vandana?
Pardon?
Can you read the message from Vandana? She's appreciating the talk and she's saying that it is from the heart and she has learned a lot.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Vandana. Thanks, thanks, thanks. Yeah. So, um, that's it from
Yeah,
me.
yeah, sir. I have a question.
Sure.
So just when you are saying that divide the portion into simple and moderate and
Average
difficult.
and
Yeah. So it is only one topic the teacher has to divide, or it is the total portion that she has to divide into three different parts. Because
awesome.
if we will divide it in three different parts and we do not teach one challenging portion to the child, what he will do next year? So I
Hmm.
guess you are talking about one lesson.
Hmm. Both, both. In in some cases, like for instance, like when you're talking about grammar or mathematics, also, in some cases, certain chapters are basic fundamentals, and certain chapters are based on the fundamentals. So if we pick up on the if we rush through with the fundamentals difficult part of the fundamentals, then it doesn't make the sense to do. So make it a point and keep the most important thing is that when we are ideating as a group. I mean i mean take the seventh standard teacher needs to take the confidence of the eighth and ninth standard teacher, that these are the parts which I'm going to do, these are the parts which I'm going to omit. Now, if you think that a particular part is very very difficult and majority of children will not be able to follow it. I remember when we were kids, we had a chapter on shares in ninth standard, and most of the teachers had omitted it out because it was not there in the 10th. So
Okay.
when we have these kind of stuff, like when we know that so there we can choose to kind of omit the entire topic also, but at the same time encourage children who would want to do.
Oh,
Don't omit a part which is tough to you. Omit a part which is
right.
challenging to the child.
True, true, true.
And yes, otherwise basically in individual chapters if we are taking it, so when we are talking about language, we are doing vocabulary, structure, construction, grammar. So vocabulary is a must. Without vocabulary a child cannot do. These are basic. Stress on that. Stories, ideation, self study. If we can develop that component, that would be, I mean, something, anything which is meaningful to you is meaningful to the child. Find
Right.
meaning in the learning. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us a lot of information, lot of tips to the teachers, how to handle the classes, how to handle parents, and of course, management. Uh, you have taught us about many things in the session. Thank you so much for giving your time. Thank you
Not at
so
all. It was
much.
my pleasure. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, man. Okay.